All right, boys, here we are back in it for a week 3 review. Hopefully, we can get through this season without any COVID-related issues. We're already seeing the effects of it for this coming week of week 4. Steelers versus Titans postponed to later in the year. We don't know how it will go. We don't know how the league is going to handle this, but hopefully they do play. Hopefully this will all be behind us and we can get some fantasy football in. But as of now, the league goes on, and here we are with a week 3 review. We're going to start off with 4th and 20 versus Bonchon Soup Surprise, a matchup between the UMW squad, Benny Cisse versus Lino Gallo. Tough double back-to-back L's from Ben. Ryan Fitzpatrick with the plug and play. Great start there on Thursday night versus Jacksonville. I thought that was a great start to the week. DK has been ballin'. He is the man. He should have had 2 titties. That motherfucker should have just tucked that motherfucker in his chest. What was he doing? That Russell titty too, that probably hurt some squads. But, I mean, strong performance from Lino. Jarvis, Odell's looking to come back. So, I don't know how Jarvis' future is looking there this season at least. Michael Gallup finally on the board. He had a slow 2 weeks, but, what did he get in the end zone with a $138? Dak and him are look like be going. I thought CeeDee Lamb would be taking that spot. Chris Carson, fuck Dallas, dude, for rolling over his knee like that. I think he's going to be out for a week or 2 after this shit. Chase Edmonds with the play there. Interesting play, Chase Edmonds. I guess, did you not have any other running backs with McCaff, Coleman? Oh, Jeff Wilson. 21 points. And John Brown with a goose egg. Oh, that's tough. Not manager of the week material looking right there. Again, I will be announcing manager of the week at the end of this video. New Orleans -1. That's just a tough week for Ben. That's tough there. Chase Edmonds, I really don't see what you were thinking there, honestly, bro. But, got to do what you got to do with injuries. Mr. Allen, fantasy MVP through 3 weeks. He has just been balling. Galladay back, Godwin back. Where's Zeke's been balling. Fournette's been on and off. McKinnon, nice last pick of the draft. Indy with more points scored on defense than offense. That's how you win championships, right? Or at least games for them. But, we're seeing the true potential here with Lino's squad. Manager of the week last week, getting the dub. His bench is looking pretty decent. Jonnu Smith at tight end. His team is looking strong moving forward here. Nothing really else to say. I'm trying to think of anything weak to say about the squad, but I can't. Good dub, Lino. Moving on to 3rd and Schlong versus the Goats team. 3rd and Schlong with the L against Willa. I know you hated that Deshaun Watson pick, bro, but, with no D-Hop, consequently enough, you have D-Hop, but, no D-Hop on the Houston team. That's cutting into Watson's production 100%. I don't know what that squad was doing, that GM coach bullshit, but it ain't working. Deontay Johnson, I don't know how he's continued to be projected over 15, 14 points. Nah, he's trash. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Austin Eckler look like to be a good trade. Calvin Ridley for Eckler. Joe Kelly and Eckler in the lineup, though. That's got to be tough moving forward. But, Ebron got in the end zone. Your benches, Zach Moss and J.K. Dobbins I thought would come out stronger in the year, but nothing right there. Nothing you could really do. That's just a tough L. Rodgers has been balling. Green Bay, everyone doubted them, not drafting any talent, not doing this, not doing that, drafting Rodgers' replacement. Rodgers is still balling. Aaron Jones is still balling. That team is getting it done. That defense will hold. Juju looked out to be a good trade for you, Luke. Stephon's balling. Cooper Kupp's balling. Kenyon Drake, he's a scrub. I'm sorry. I couldn't let that trade through. You got Davis for a few weeks here. Is he a running back, tight end, or receiver? Howdy. But, he's getting you points. Hunter Henry, Russell Gage was a nice, interesting flex play, but, he couldn't get it done. Then had to cool off, come back to earth for a little bit. Jordan Reed, he just can't stay healthy. The man just retire, call it. Corey Davis was a nice pickup. Their bench is looking strong, Will. D Swift is trash, but, strong win here. Good win, Will. The projections were lived up to your name, but you're trying to make moves. You're trying to make trades. You're trying to get back in the game here, and I like it. Good win, Will. A whopping 209 put up by West Coast Ragers. Absolutely bent over and the fantasy team this week. Mr. Trubisky for the GOAT of the win and the best fantasy play week of the year, huh? Not looking too strong and not a manager of the week candidate here. I mean, 16 points from Eckler, and that's about it. I mean, that's tough, bro. Moving with Montgomery and Gordon moving forward. I mean, you have Henderson on the bench. You didn't play him last week either, I don't believe. I mean, dude, he's balling. You're missing out on some primetime points right there. But moving on to Nolan's team, I mean, Russell Wilson balling. Keenan Allen, 30-piece. Tyreek's been balling. Derrick Henry finally gets a little double dip in the end zone, 2-piece right there. Myles Gaskin, a nice plug and play. Mo Alley Cox, the VCU. The Richmond boy himself. Look at him catching titties from Mr. Phillip Rivers. James Conner, Justin Tucker, Tampa Bay with the 20-piece. Todd Gurley. What a week, Nolan. What a week. Strong week. I mean, Derrick Henry and James Conner both postponed next week. I mean, that's going to be tough. Like I said, I wish I was playing Nolansky this week. I mean, this was just an all-out shit on the fantasy team. I'm sorry, Luke, but not a strong performance at all moving here. And questionable starts as well. But Ragers, holy 209. Good dub. The Yaks in 5 versus the Zeppelins. The roast versus the roast. Minshew over Mahomes. Mahomes had a 40-piece. I mean, that's 145, still down 40. I mean, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have even mattered if you played Mahomes. I mean, Kamara with the 44 burger. He was just running over them. The Green Bay forget how to tackle. I mean, they came out with the dub, but Alan Lazard with a great flex play there. You know, your boy told you to plug and play him there. But, I mean, points on the bench as well. Emmanuel Sanders, Sony Michel with a good game. I mean, your tight end is very weak here, but, I mean, you could hit the streaming option. But Lamar dudded out. But, I mean, T. Lockett and Russell and DK Metcalf, they're all clicking on all cylinders right now, and they're looking nice. I mean, they're probably going to have to come back to earth at some point, but, I mean, this is an all-out route right here as well. Like the last matchup we just went over, I mean, Ertz finally came back. James Robinson with a 30-piece. I mean, the team's looking good. I mean, you need some upgrade at wide receiver for sure. I mean, the Juju trade is kind of looking questionable right now. I mean, you need a receiver, and Devontae Parker is your 1A is kind of tough. I mean, Deshaun's kind of hurt now. Oh, that's right. You got Julio. He'll be back soon. Excuse me, speaking too soon. So, Julio will be back. I thought I saw you dropped AJ Green. Maybe I'm clearly mistaken. Or maybe picked him back up or something. AP on the bench. Jared Cook. Not a bad bench. I mean, your team is not bad, but just questionable starts here. And you definitely need to upgrade the wide receiver position, but not as big as a roast as I wanted to get, Chad, but I mean, it's just, even I thought, you would have had a closer chance with Mahomes, but I mean, you still would have lost by 30, 40 points, but good win here from Rye. I mean, you can't depend on Kamara and Lockett for 40 burgers every week, but I mean, great decisions on the plays and good win and finally on the board, moving up. Great dub. Bobby Woods and the boys beating Napoleon by less than 1 point. That's crazy. I mean, less than half a point. Less than 0.2 of a point. What is that exactly? 0.14? That's insane. Dak Prescott with a Hail Mary intercepted at the end of the game for a -2 to lose him the game. I mean, pay Dak, but shit, that's tough. I mean, this was the week to beat Bobby Woods and the boys, too. I mean, Matt Ryan with the not looking too hot. That whole Atlanta team is not looking too hot. I mean, Miles Sanders and Dalvin Cook, Eaton, Darius Slayton, Hayden Hurst, Ronald Jones. The bench looking decent. He dropped Matt Stafford, I believe, as well. He picked up my boy Jared Goff, which is trash. Fuck you, Bobby Woods and the boys. But, I mean, hey, man, it's fantasy. Anything can happen, and even with a Jimmy Graham plug-and-play, great start there, Napoleon. you were actually considered my manager of the week while looking at the scores. But, I mean, I can't give it to someone that took an L. So that's really tough right there. I mean, that's as close as it gets. I mean, this is an even matchup. Everything worked out as possibly as it could, and it's just unfortunate. I mean, that pick could have happened at the end of the game like it did, or in the first quarter with 12 minutes left, and you never know. I mean, that's still -2, so don't think about it as you lost because of Dak. He still put up 29, but that's a tough way to go out. Keep your head up, keep grinding. Your team is not that bad, Napoleon. Just Will Fuller looks to be back, so, I mean, just keep it up, bro. You got it. And for the last matchup, that will be between myself and Benny the Steel Curtain, dealing with injuries out the ass. But I would like to say the only 3-0 team in the league. And we are moving here. I mean, Ryan Tannehill had a dud performance, but Allen Robinson finally linking up with Nick Foles. I mean, he looked like he was just starting to try harder when Foles came in. I mean, it was kind of like a sabotage on fucking Trubisky. It's kind of trash on how that all worked out. But, I mean, McLaurin, he's eating. He's number 1 in the league right now after yards after catch. I mean, he catches the ball and he looks to turn upfield. Even though Dwayne in that offensive line can't really have any protection or good passes, he is still finding a way to get it done, and we need to lock him up for the next 10 years. Tyler Boyd and Joe Burrow are, I told you, week 1, they had a connection coming out of training camp, and I was targeting him in a lot of drafts. A.J. Green is not the man. It is Tyler Boyd. He has 1,000 yards receiving in back-to-back years, and him and Burrow are going to connect. Nick Chubb, I believe, is the first running back on the Browns to have back-to-back 100-yard, 2 TD games in like 60 years or something like that, I was reading. He's been balling. Josh Jacobs had a great start week 1, but he has been coming back to earth the past couple weeks. But, I mean, with other players stepping in and playing big, I mean, I only do need an average amount of points from him each week. But, 30 burgers are nice to get, and my bench is looking really poor right now. I mean, I try to, pick up some people here and there, but, I mean, A.J. Brown on the Titans postponed, and he's been dealing with a little knee bone bruise. So, I mean, as soon as I can get him back, hopefully I'll be good to go with my wideouts and flex play. But Gibson has been getting it done. I mean, he's been sliding in the end zones in back-to-back weeks. But, I mean, moving on to Ben's team, we both knew who was getting this dub coming into week 1. He was dealing with injuries out the ass. I mean, he didn't even know Sammy Watkins was about to play, and that was his only option to play at wide receiver going into that Monday night game. A quick 13-piece, but, I mean, nothing special. I mean, Big Ben, caught the dub against Houston, but, I mean, Drew Brees is your starter, but, I mean, you got to slide in there with your Steelers boys, root them on, even though you might not even catch the win. But, I mean, Claypool is hit or home. You never know how you're going to fucking go with that. Joe Mixon has been really average. I mean, that Cincinnati passing game has been where it's at. I mean, the running game cannot get going. That O-line is trash. I mean, Joe Burrow is throwing 60, 65 times a game, and, I mean, you got to let Boyd, you got to let Sample, you got to let Green, you got to let all these guys get their touches. But, I mean, if you're coming from behind, you can't be running the ball every play. T-Hawk, he looks like a nice top 10 tight end moving forward, though. I mean, that was a great pickup. But, I mean, once your team comes back from injuries, bro, Mustert's a beast. Chark will be back next week, I think. And, of course, Michael Thomas. Your team is looking strong. Odell, Michael Thomas, and Mostert back in there. And that's probably a closer matchup, no doubt. But I'll take the win to move on to 3-0. And I'll sit on it for now, see how far it goes. My manager of the week this week for week 3, before week 4 and after week 2, goes to the 9th-ranked GOATS team. Willa. I mean, way to persevere, way to make some trades, and way to stay hungry. I mean, good pickup with Davis, plug and play there. Russell Gage, you could have done a little bit better with Corey Davis. But, I mean, you were projected to lose by 10. You made some good choices in your lineup. You try not to get fancy this week, which I said last week, and I really like it. I mean, Ingram would have been probably an L if you didn't start him instead of, Mike Davis. But, I mean, great win, Willa. Great way to stay alive in the season. There's our week 3 and 2nd overall manager of the week. Goes to the GOATS team to stay alive and keep his season alive. We'll see where it goes next week, boys. But that's the Week 3 matchup reviews. I hope y'all enjoy. And let's get it done for Week 4, and let's finish the season strong. All right, boys, take it easy.